Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 90 of Rise Up and Share Your Soul's Medicine. I'm so excited to be here with you. Sorry, I'm getting this weird pop up. Okay, my name is Lisa Espinosa. I'm a spiritual career coach and priestess, and I help my clients and my students and everybody who's drawn to this work to share their unique soul's medicine with the world. Now that can be through your creative projects, through, of course, the way you live your life as well. And so what I do is I teach my clients how to connect with their soul every day throughout the day, no matter what the circumstance, right? Like whatever you feel the block may be to you truly hearing and following that soul's guidance every day. So, not just when you're on vacation and things are going very well or you have time off, and also not during those times where things are very intense and there's crisis and suddenly you have clarity about your life. I mean, those are important moments, those are significant moments. But the what we're all moving into is to actually be able to be in an ongoing communication with your soul throughout the day, every day. And so that's how I help my clients. And today we're going to talk about soul action versus hustle. Okay, this is a really important topic. I've talked about it before. And I just keep finding different ways to talk about it because we need to hear these lessons over and over and over and over, right? If you've attended any of my free master classes, I always remind myself that a master masters the basics. And this is one of those basic teachings. How can you discern between soul action and hustle? And so I'm going to talk about that. And I have a little page of notes here in case I wander or to keep me on point. And so first main thing to know, hustle comes from some limiting thought. It comes from the vibration of lack. And it might not be obvious. In fact, a lot of times that's not obvious, but it's really important to know that, like, oh, when you're hustling, it's coming inevitably from some sort of lack thought or limiting thought, right? I have to work really, really, really hard so that I can get the results I want, right? There's a feeling of lack, of not having. I don't know if you're all seeing this. My computer keeps saying this weird thing. Hopefully, you're not seeing this and it's not being recorded, but I digress. So, think about when you're in that energy of hustle. There's always some sort of lack thought. There's some sort of limitation, right? And it's important for you to identify that, to start to like get really self-aware, to notice like, oh, where is that? So for example, I know a lot of my clients who, after we start working together, are really trying to create a daily routine that is supportive to them. And one of the things that can get in the way the most is the dreaded to-do list, right? That seductive to-do list, like, can feel so amazing, right? To have a to-do list and cross all the things off the list. But that's, if you've experienced to-do lists taking over, they're never actually all crossed out, right? There's always something else that can be added. And so that's a trap. If we fall into hustle because of our to-do list, we never arrive. There's always more to do. So hustle comes from that place of lack, that place of scarcity. And soul action comes from your soul's guidance, is action that you're guided to take by your soul. And so what can get confusing is that they both have some overlap or some similarities. So it's really important to understand what those are. And that's what I'm going to focus on today more. And so, for example, I know sometimes we have the misconception that when we're following our soul's guidance, everything's going to flow and we're going to feel great and we're going to feel so inspired and motivated and joyful and abundant and, like butterflies and rainbows. And Absolutely, there are those times for sure, but it's not that clear cut. Your soul is also always guiding you to stretch past your comfort zone. Like, really think of your soul as a coach. So when I coach my clients, what I'm coaching them to do is to coach with their soul, is to recognize you have a 24 hours, 7 days a week, 365 days a year coach inside of you that's loving, wise, kind, funny, abundant, has infinite energy. That's our soul. And so your soul, as a good coach that it is always stretching you, right? If your soul didn't stretch you, we would never expand. If your soul's like, oh, it's okay, just stay the same. That's the ego's coaching. Your soul is always like, okay, this is amazing. Now we're going to stretch a little past our comfort zone, or sometimes a lot, right? So this is really important for you to know that is uncomfortable, and the more you do it, the less uncomfortable it can become, because you start to trust and understand, oh, this is temporary. It's just like, if you go to yoga class or you do any other sort of exercise, the stretching can be uncomfortable, right? It can feel uncomfortable, even though this is good for me. This is helping my joints. This is helping to release congested energy. This is helping my posture, my balance, whatever, all the wonderful things, right? And so it's the same thing. So you can't use that barometer. Well, if I'm following my soul, it should feel great. If I'm hustling, it's going to feel bad. It's not that clear cut. And so it's important to know that. The other thing is that when you hustle, absolutely, eventually it leads to exhaustion, burnout, resentment. Eventually. But some people, and I include myself in this, can be really addicted to hustling, or can like there can be this temporary high, right? This temporary feeling of accomplishment when we're hustling, right? It's like, and that can feel really good. It can be pleasurable. And so hustling can feel good at times, right? So again, so you have to really kind of think and go like, okay, where is this action coming from? Is it coming from a feeling of lack? Or is it coming from me trying to escape the moment? That's another big one I forgot to mention before. So really notice if there's some uncomfortable feeling, some uncomfortable reality that you're in, right? And it's uncomfortable, so you'd rather take action, right? Let me hustle my way out of this uncomfortable feeling. And even though that works temporarily, sometimes it's not first of all, it's not sustainable, and it's not actually creating long-lasting transformation or healing. So when you start to understand, well, both hustle and soul action will give me some pleasure, and both soul action and hustle will be uncomfortable, and then you need to then decide, as a mature, spiritually mature person, is, well, which one gets me the results I want. So the thing with hustle is that it will get you results. I mean, if it didn't, nobody would keep doing it. But it will get you results that in the long term don't create the change you want to create. So for example, people can hustle to make a ton of money, right? And I coach a lot of wellness professionals and therapists, and they might hustle to attract more clients, or hustle to create all these classes, or hustle to get all this training and degrees that they feel they need to get. But when the journey to get it involves hustle, inevitably at the end, the result will not be the paradigm shift, the true transformation that you want. In the short term, it might be very satisfying in the short term. Oh my gosh, I hustled and I got all this done. Awesome. But ultimately, it doesn't lead to you sharing your soul's medicine with more impact and with more joy and blessings for you and those you're here to serve. Whereas soul action, even though it can feel tiring, sometimes soul action is tiring. There's just no going around it. A lot of times, mostly because we're stretching past our comfort zone. So it's not tiring in the same way. So it's not like, oh my gosh, I haven't eaten, I haven't slept, I haven't gone out and seen the sunlight, for hours and hours and hours. But it can be exhausting in the fact that, oh my gosh, I've had to do so much thought work, I've had to do so much emotional healing, I've had to do so much self coaching, I've had to like really be with my challenging emotions. I've had to take risks. I've had to put myself in front of people and share my medicine in ways that made me really uncomfortable. And that's exhausting, right? And so that's real. And that's part of it. But the difference is when you're taking soul action, in the end, the results that you will have created long lasting change, will have deepened your ability to share your medicine with the world in a way that is more impactful, that has more integrity, and that blesses you more, right? And so that's a real important difference. So then you get to decide, you get to decide, well, both soul action and hustle can bring discomfort, but which discomfort do I want to invest in? The one that's going to lead to my expansion and transformation and sharing my medicine in a way that blesses me more than I've ever been blessed before and that blesses others in a more profound way? Or do I want to hustle where it gives me temporary satisfaction but doesn't truly create the results I want to create for myself and for others? So that's really important to know, because then it clarifies things. So you're not thinking, I must be doing something wrong if I'm feeling bad, right? So that's really important. I'm looking at here. Yeah, I said all those things. Yeah. So then the question to ask yourself always is, because this is not a linear process. All of the things I share with you, not just in this podcast, but in my classes, they're an ongoing practice. It's not like, oh, okay, I've mastered this. Now I know what hustle is. Now I know what soul action is. I shall never hustle again. That's not how it works, right? We're living a human life. Our life is the school, right? Is the training, and so this is something that you master it in a certain level, and then your soul's like, okay, she's ready or he's ready for more, right? Then there's a next level of mastery. And so what's important for you to ask yourself, and that's what we're going to do as we go into this inner journey, is where in my life am I more in the hustle energy and my soul is really wanting to bring me back into soul action? And before exploring that a little more deeply, I do want to say this. I think I forgot to say about soul action, because I don't want you to misunderstand and think that taking soul action is always difficult. There are absolutely many, many times where taking soul action feels amazing, and it does feel inspiring, and it does feel motivating, and it does feel rejuvenating, and it does feel fulfilling, and it feels amazing. That's part of it too. I just don't want you to think, I want to really normalize for everyone, for all of us, that there's also times when taking soul action feels challenging. There's times when it feels boring even, right? Like I was experiencing that this morning, and it was more than boredom. It was more like I was just really unmotivated. And I was like, what is going on? And I knew there were these action steps that I really wanted in the sense that they were soul guided. Like I didn't want to do them. I didn't feel motivated to do them. But I really felt like, okay, these are action steps I really want to do, like my soul wants me to do. But I wasn't feeling it. And I just, it took a few moments to just like write out all my thoughts and give those parts of me that were just like, we're tired. We're stretching too much. We've done so many hard things this week already. We've already put ourselves out there so much. We just want to like hide under the covers or watch mindless TV for hours right now. Like, they just needed to express that. And there's nothing wrong with, of course, we all have those times where we might decide, yep, I'm just gonna numb out for, watch this movie right now. I just need my brain to rest. Like that, that's legitimate. There's nothing, not judging that. But we also are working on our spiritual maturity and being sober, clear, sobriety of the mind and emotions. So for me to either in that moment decide, well, you know what, then I am going to do that. I'm going to go watch something on TV. I need that. Or say, I totally hear you, Parts. Absolutely want to do that. And we'll get to do that tonight. But right now, there's these three things that I really am committed to doing. Right? And so that's maturity. And so that's what I mean about soul actions that sometimes don't feel great. Now, once I did those steps, those actions, they weren't as bad as I thought. It's like I felt better. It's almost like I just needed to be able to express, I don't want, I don't want to do this. So this is, again, I think the biggest takeaway for you is to remember that when you're in hustle mode, yes, eventually it leads to exhaustion. Yes, eventually it leads to burnout. But in the short term, it can feel good. It can feel pleasurable, right? That's why it's confusing. And that's why a lot of times when I have clients who come, potential clients who come for the free breakthrough consult that I offer, they might be kind of confused. Like, I feel so productive a lot of the times. I'm so busy. I'm doing so much. But then, like, I'm not anywhere close to finishing my book or to starting my healing center or to getting different types of clients than what I have now. Like, even though I'm so busy. And what is it? It's that they keep spiraling in that hustle mode, right? And so that's what I help them identify. Like, oh, this is what's going on. Like, now we need to shift to soul action, right? And the maturity that requires. And, we can all do that. And it's so much more fun and joyful and efficient to do it a lot of times with a coach. Yes, your soul is a coach and somebody who can walk you through that journey. So we're going to take speaking of journey, we're going to take a little meditation to just ask that question, like be open to ask, okay, beautiful soul, where am I veering into hustle mode? And what's the thought that's creating that? Because hustle always begins with a thought. Like, oh my gosh, I need to make money now. I need to rush right now. Or somebody's going to take my idea. I need to put this into effect right now. Or, oh my gosh, I'm going to run out of energy. So I better get all this stuff down now before I run out of energy, right? Like there's some sort of thought that creates the hustle. And so your soul, who is so wise, can help you identify that. And then say, hey, oh, this is the other thing I'm remembering. Remember, your soul, yes, is loving and kind and gentle and all the things, but your soul is also very powerful and strategic. So when we're taking soul action, there's much more mindfulness and strategy. That connects with that teaching that I've been teaching for years and years and years, slowing down to speed up. Hustle, it's kind of, and I'm not saying this with any judgment towards anyone because I do this as well, but it's kind of the brain's lazy way of moving forward. And I know that sounds weird because when you're hustling, it looks like the opposite of laziness because you're working really, really hard. But what I mean is that your brain doesn't have to think higher thinking thoughts. When it's hustling, it's just like, ooh, let's just press the foot on the accelerator and just do what we know how to do. Let's do it, spiral, do. One of my coaches, it says it's like running in place. When I run so fast, in place. So it's actually very lazy. But when we're taking soul action, it requires strategy. It requires mindfulness. It requires slowing down, and that can be really uncomfortable. Right? Think about when you're taking a trip somewhere and you're like, I gotta get there now. I'm running behind. I just need to go. I think I can figure it out on my own. As opposed to, I need to go to Google Maps and check what's the fastest way take the time to do that because it's going to save me time, right? So your soul is like Google Maps, right? That is saying, hey, slow down. I know you want to get there, but I can actually help you. I can give you the true shortcuts. And this is, again, maturity. And so let's go ahead and go into our inner journey. Take some deep cleansing breaths. Feel the earth under your feet. And bring your awareness to your heart. And you can bring the palms of your hands over your heart center. Or just to bring your awareness there. Sometimes you just need to do this for a moment, and it just drops you from the intellect right into the wisdom of your heart, the wisdom of your soul. And then you're going to ask, as you close your eyes, sorry, let me back up a little bit. Before you ask, feel this beautiful, visualize this beautiful sun in your heart, this radiant sun. And this radiant sun is like beaming rays of light out in front of you. And as those rays beam outside in front of you, there's a golden path that appears. And you're now seeing yourself standing on that golden path. And you're standing on it right where there's all these crossroads. So you're standing and there's a path that goes to the left, there's a path that goes to the right, there's a path that goes straight ahead. You're just like right there in that point where you get to decide, do I go left? Do I go right? Do I keep going straight? But you're just standing. You're not rushing anywhere. You're just standing there appreciating all the different options. And now you're welcoming your soul's guidance. You're welcoming your soul's guidance. Say, beautiful soul, I welcome your wisdom. And ask your soul first to highlight for you which of those paths is the highest path for you, the one that will bring the most blessings to you and the world. And you don't need to know any details right now, like, well, what does this path mean? Just notice that there's one that's going to be highlighted the most. Maybe it's the one on the left, maybe it's the one on the right, maybe it's straight ahead. But whatever it is, just go ahead and stand on that path. And just know there's no way to make a mistake. Your soul's just pointing to the path that is the highest path. And as you stand on that path, you're aware as you look at it that you will experience the most joy and blessings on that path as you follow your soul's guidance. And you can see that there's times on the path where you're kind of strolling, just taking it in, walking very slowly, like, wow, look at this, look at that. And there's other times where you're walking pretty fast, because that can be soul action too, right? It could be like, ooh, just kind of like a lot of steps. And so you realize, oh, my soul action, sometimes it's slower, sometimes it's faster. But all along, my soul is with me. Now, right next to that path, now your soul's going to show you the hustle version of this. And in the hustle version of this, you're speeding through that path and you're missing all of these gifts that are there along the way. Gifts, lessons, teachings, connections. You're missing all that because you're so busy hustling your way through it. And you notice that at the end of the path, you're dissatisfied. You realize, oh my gosh, I missed all those gifts. I missed all those lessons. I missed refining my soul's medicine. And your soul's not mad at you in any way because your soul loves you unconditionally. But all this means is like, oh, I got to take that path all over again. Those lessons are going to come back and I'll just have to do them again. But the beauty of this journey is that you are now getting an opportunity to decide differently. So ask your soul, beautiful soul, where in my life have I been hustling? Maybe in a really obvious way. Maybe it's been so subtle that I've just been fooling myself, lying to myself. Again, there's no shame. We all do this. And not recognizing, I'm kind of in hustle mode. So ask your soul to show you. And then ask, beautiful soul, bring me back into alignment with you. What do I need to stop doing so that I can go back into soul action? What do I need to do more, perhaps, so that I can go back into soul action? And receive all of those answers in your heart. It doesn't matter if you don't hear anything yet. Trust, it's all getting in your heart and it will be revealed at exactly the right time. Now come back to the beginning of the crossroads, the paths. Come back to your heart. Thank your soul, and your soul thanks you deeply as we bring the palms of our hands together and we bow to each other and our own heart and end this journey with a namaste. Namaste, everyone. Right. So, if you want to share in the chat or you want to share in the comments what came up for you, please do so. And just notice, I was really touched by that, right? It's like you're on the same path, and one path you're hustling through, one path you're following your soul's pace, which it's not always just ease. Sometimes our soul's pace is fast, right? We've all had that. But at the end, you've gathered all your gifts, all the wisdom, you're ready for the next level. Whereas when we hustle our way there, at the end, there's still some lessons we have to learn. So then we get to, the lessons come back again. Now remember, both options, your soul loves you just the same. Right? That's really important for you to remember. All right, so I'm going to pull 2 cards for us, for those of you who are here live and watching the replay, and those of you who are watching the replay. This is from the Wild Woman Rising. So we're just asking, okay, what is the message to help you get back into soul action, to release hustle with compassion, with understanding, because you know that actually soul action is more efficient. All right, here we go. Look at this. Number 37, champion peace. And look at this gorgeous woman. She reminds me of Goddess Bridget and that Luna moth. And so remember the question, how do you step out of hustle into soul action? She's got her eyes closed. She's very present in the moment, champion peace. Right, so there's something about that for you to just think, okay, where do I need to bring this energy that this beautiful woman is expressing? This energy of like inward peace, stillness. She's not moving, right? She's still. So there's that message for us. Okay, this is what's going to help you. And you might want to look up all the amazing qualities of Luna moth. They're very fertile when they become the moth, when they come out of their cocoon, because it is a moth, not a butterfly. Their one objective is to mate, to be fertile. And so we can take that, not just like baby making, but like fertile. What are you creating? What are you birthing? But look, she's in stillness as she does that. Okay. And then I'm just going to do one more card from the Enchanted Forest Oracle. And I couldn't remember, so I was looking at the box. And then we are done. Okay. And remember, tomorrow is the solstice ceremony. Solstice, full moon, half of the year. It's going to be amazing. I would love to see you. It's that what is with Overlighting Mentor Mother Mary. And you can go to my website or my Facebook page to sign up for that. Participate. Do not confuse intention with entitlement. The entitlement to demand from the world leaves you with nothing. The world is rich, and so are you. All right. I didn't even talk about entitlement today, but that could be a really great podcast episode. The difference between, but this has, let me, I won't go into that right now, but just really bring it back to today's teaching. How do you step out of a hustle and step into soul action? There's something about participating, right? There's something about intention, really intending, releasing entitlement. Entitlement also comes from lack. Well, I deserve this. I should have this. We can have compassion for our parts that think that. And I love this. The world is rich, and so are you. All right, everyone, thank you so much. And I will see you next week. And I hopefully will see you tomorrow for the solstice ceremony that's happening. And I will talk to you soon. Bye-bye.